just to line up my audio with the picture. You know what I mean?
Right on.
So, welcome to the Driver's Seat Podcast. Here today with Jeremy Rowlan. Start off, Jeremy, where are you from? Like, where'd you grow up and stuff?
I was born in Spearman, raised in Waka, and live in Spearman now.
Well, what got you started into Derby? Like, what made you want to do it?
Just being around it when I was a young kid, kinda.
Who, like, what?
One of the first ones I was ever around was Brandon Harper.
Oh, really?
And I mean, just kinda.
Well, I know you used to hang out with my mom and all them while they were building Lonnie's cars and stuff back in the day, too.
Yeah, I was way too young then to remember much of it, but I was around all that.
I got you.
So, like I said, I've been around it basically my whole life, so
you
kind of one of them you fall into.
You got into it with Harper then, like, while he was building, you'd go watch him build or help him build or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, when was your first Derby after you got into it?
I want to say it was my junior year in high school, I think. It was my first time.
Oh, damn, how old were you?
I don't know. I've been doing it for about 20 years now.
Well, how old are you now?
37.
So do some math there. That's what, 17 years?
Yeah, somewhere in there. It would have been close to that.
Shit. You remember your first Derby?
Yeah, I got my ass kicked.
Where was it?
In Perryton.
What car did you have?
I had it was a late 70s Cadillac, and I ended up in a round back wagon class, basically.
What?
Got my ass handed to me in a hurry.
Is that a class of only round back wagons or what?
No, it just happened to be that's all that was in that heat.
Oh, shit. That's tough.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you were feeling? Were you pissed off that you got thrown into class with all round backs, or?
No, I mean, when your adrenaline's running when you're young like that, it's just all fun and games anyway.
I was trying to explain that to Madison. We were talking about it last night. I was like, when you pull out there, it's like you get shot with adrenaline straight to the heart, you know?
Oh yeah.
I was like, you're just sitting there and you look at the crowd and your blood's pumping, and you're nervous, but you're not too nervous. You're in the moment.
Oh yeah. You'll feel nervous as hell like that. You have butterflies until that first hit, and then it's.
Especially in your first one, you're shitting bricks the whole time.
Oh yeah.
I had somebody ask me how long a build usually takes, and what goes into building one. And I know you're more of a Vic guy, so what goes on in building Vics?
It all really just depends on what class you're running, and I mean, all honesty, it's all in what you want to put into it. I mean, depending whether you're running cradles or you're not. I mean.
And for the people that don't know, what is a cradle?
It protects your engine and transmission from damage of the car.
I got you. So, like, I went blank. I don't remember what I was going to ask there. In your opinion, which obviously I just said your favorite car is a Vic, but what would you say is, like, the overall best car to build?
I'd still have to say a Vic, 9802 Vic.
Over a round back, over a caddy?
Yeah. I mean, all the old schools are supposed to be tough, but they can't maneuver like you can a Vic.
See, and there's a lot of people that like running those old irons instead of Vics. What, you think a Vic would eat an old iron all day long, or what?
Oh, yeah, like I say, it comes down to maneuverability. I mean, a Vic you can turn on a dime.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys, they still have badass engines and everything in these big old irons, but they can't turn and stuff as sharp as you can in a Vic.
Yeah, just sit there and whip that Vic around like no problem at all, huh?
Yeah, that's like I say, you can turn on a dime in them.
Yeah, if everybody likes to say you're real good at just turning.
You got to get there somehow.
I actually had this question, and I saved it just for you. Somebody asked me, and I knew it would be a good one for you. Are you allowed to run trucks, or does it just have to be cars?
They make, well, I guess not so much make, but they have just a truck class. We're not, I mean, they don't have that class in Perryton no more. Or you'd be able to run trucks. I kind of wish they'd bring them back, but.
And you've built a truck?
I've built several trucks.
What's been your favorite one since you've built several?
Basically I've had 3 Chevys, and that's all I've ran Chevys, and I never had any issues with them.
What would you rather run, a car or a truck?
I'd rather run a car.
A car?
Yeah, trucks are fun, but they're twice as hard hitting.
We were talking about it, and you had said that there's a little bit more freedom in building a truck.
Yeah, you can do more to a truck, but like I said, I mean, they hit harder. You feel it a lot more than you do in a car.
A little bit heavier.
Oh, yeah.
Besides the obvious, what are some differences in building a truck and car? Like, obviously one's a truck, one's a car, but
Like you said, as far as more freedom on a truck, everything's a lot bigger, even, frame-wise and everything, so you're just allowed to do that much more, and it just makes it that much harder. They're a lot rougher riding, I promise you that. A car's pretty rough in the arena as it is. A truck's really rough.
speaking of that, I had some people come into the pits and stuff. It was their first derby they'd ever been to, and they said they couldn't believe just how much it'd sit there and bounce because nobody realizes that we got the suspension welded solid on
Right.
those things. And so, what makes it a rougher ride for a truck then? Because isn't it the same? You got the same suspension
Yes,
welded
but
solid.
Everything's bigger tires and everything. You're already that much higher off the ground, so every dip you hit,
So you don't
twice as bad.
run the regular 15-inch, 14-inch tires on a truck or what?
No, on truck you're allowed 16s and everything.
Oh shit, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
We're going through this quicker than I thought we were going to be. What are you building right now for the upcoming season? You don't have any trucks or anything.
No trucks, just another Vic.
What year?
It's a 98.
What do you got power in that thing?
I'm in the process of building an LS 60.
Dang, big money.
Junkyard stuff.
Is that where you got it from? Was a junkyard? Not
Yep.
many people would think to go to a junkyard to get an LS.
Yeah, 90,000 miles on it. It ain't scratched.
Nah, there's nothing wrong with it then.
Nope. Still a fresh engine.
What drives somebody to get into a 5 to 10,000 pound automobile and hit somebody at 30 to 45 miles an hour?
I don't know what drives somebody to do it, but I guess you got to be an adrenaline junkie, and I'm all for that.
There's a lot of people that don't think it's that bad though. Everybody, you got these roundy round guys that like to talk crap on derby guys and say that it ain't nothing.
I tell them to crawl in one.
So, for these people that say that they'd get in one and win on their first try, do you ever take offense to that?
No, because I know there ain't nobody just gonna get in one and win one.
You don't think so?
No,
Never happened?
no,
Especially with no experience, huh?
exactly.
That's what I get told that quite a bit. I have a few people ask me, "Oh, how come you haven't won any?" Well, I've only done it for 4 years, and there's still guys like you that have been in it for as long as I've been alive that are still out there just crushing competition. It's hard to compete with guys like you. Y'all got
Well, it's not something you just walk into overnight.
yeah, you got to have a lot of experience.
Well, not so much experience, but you really got to take note on everything you do. I mean, if you do something to your car tomorrow and you realize that screwed you, are you going to do it again to your next car?
Probably not.
I mean, it's all a learning experience.
Yeah. And there's a lot that goes into them, wiring can fuck you up or mess you up. I had my driveline fall out this year. That's not something I thought would happen. People roast their transmissions, all sorts of stuff, and nobody really ever realizes.
Yeah,
It's a lot
like I
harder
said,
than
I mean,
just,
it's a learning experience. You just got to
it's
take it one step at a time. If you make a mistake, you fix that mistake. There's always room for another mistake. But
yeah.
once you get all your mistakes lined out, then you're good.
There's a lot more to it than just some drunk rednecks getting into an arena
Oh,
and
yeah.
going and hitting each other.
For damn sure.
So I guess I should have asked this question before I asked what drives you to hit somebody at 30 miles an hour, but what's been your favorite car that you've ever built, or your funnest build that you've had?
Funnest build? I'd honestly have to say my pickups were my funnest build. I mean, you're allowed more, which on a truck honestly takes less. More is less on a truck than it is on a car.
Yeah.
You don't have to try to hide anything or,
Well, hell, it'd
do
be hard to
anything
hide
special.
anything on those things.
But they're actually a lot funner to drive. But like I say, they're a lot harder hitting and everything.
So what do you What if somebody gets on here and sees this that drives trucks and they're like, oh, that guy's a wuss?
Well, I've been in the arena with the best of them. I ain't too worried about it.
I got you. So, with it being harder hitting and stuff, or just being in a derby in general, are you ever scared of getting seriously injured or anything?
No, you build a pretty good cage. I mean, you got your helmet. Hell, I've been on fire. I mean,
That was from a hand fuel pump. Manual.
well, the fuel pump come apart, and I kept putting it back together just to keep going.
I got you. So, that takes a lot of wit to be able to put a fuel pump back together in that amount of time and keep going. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, for all you people that think you can just get into one of these things and go win your first one and not know what to do if anything bad goes wrong, just remember, you can always catch on fire no matter what happens. This guy is proof of that. So, are you ever nervous beforehand?
Oh, I've been doing it, like I said, for 20 years, and I still get butterflies every time I pull in the arena.
You just let the butterflies go?
As soon as that flag drops and you make that first
Ooh.
hit, it's good from there.
Would you ever consider doing anything other than derby?
I own a dragster, so, I mean, I guess you could say I've
What kind?
already been there and done that, but
What kind of dragster is it?
it's a 21-foot rail.
I have no idea what that means, but somebody probably watching this will.
Yeah.
So, are your drag racing nerves any different from derby nerves, or is it all the
It's
same?
just kind of the same. I mean, and my dragster's solid suspension, so the whole way down the track you can't see anything anyway. You just got to know you got to keep the wheel straight.
So, anything different? I mean, obviously it's a drag car compared to a derby car, but preparation and stuff still the same on it, or?
Yeah, it's still, I mean, horsepower. I mean, you want horsepower.
A little bit quicker?
Yeah, everybody wants horsepower, you know, but horsepower can kill you in a lot of ways.
But you have in your drag car is one of your old derby engines, right?
Yes.
That's pretty badass engine to be putting, if you can put it into a drag car and you had it in a derby car beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty damn good engine.
Is there any time to make repairs, or are you even allowed to make repairs, like in between heats or anything? This is another question I had somebody ask me, and I know the answer to it, but this is for people that...
In Derby?
Yeah, in derby.
Yeah, I mean, they give you a certain amount of time per, I guess, in between heats and stuff. Some shows don't let you work on them. You got to
Really?
pull them in a pin until you got a certain amount. Everybody's got the exact amount of time to work on their stuff. But I haven't been to one of them shows. I've just seen them on TV and stuff like that, you know. But
Yeah.
ours, I mean, basically, when you're done with your heat, whether you won or you lost, you either got to get it ready for consolation or you got to get it ready for final.
So as soon as you pull back into the pits, you can go straight to work on it.
Yes, sir.
And that's mostly what happens in the pits, right? You just see guys scrambling all over the place trying to get parts rounded up or
Yep,
get their pit crew rounded up to get ready on fixing their fucking car.
that's right.
I had somebody ask, I was like, they said, what goes on in the pit? And I was like, it's a whole different animal back there than sitting in the stands.
There's a lot of work going on in there.
It's actually it's a pretty cool experience being back there for the first time. Because I watched from the stands as a kid, and then I turned maybe 13 or 14, and you told me to go into the pit, and you were like, just lie, say you're 16. They won't card you or nothing. And I was like, all right. I had no idea what to expect going back there. I'm sitting here trying to sprint around and keep from being in you guys' way or anything, and it's a whole different animal back there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff go on in the pits as far as everybody's got different techniques of fixing their car and stuff like that. I mean,
You see guys hitting their cars with sledgehammer, especially if you don't know what's going on. You see somebody whack their car with a sledgehammer, and you're like, what the hell?
yep,
And then you see people pulling them up onto trailers, bending them back down.
yep.
My brother-in-law, he was in the pits this year with us, and my car nosed up and motor mounts were broke and everything, but the hood was holding the headers in place, so the engine wasn't going nowhere. But he was like, you're done, right? And I was like, hell no, we're loading this up on the trailer, we're gonna bend this sumbitch back down.
Right.
And he was like, man, I gotta get back in the pits again next time. He's like, that was a fun time.
It's a cool experience, especially for somebody that's never been around the stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they honestly think, whoa, how the hell are you gonna put that back together?
Yeah, it's
And then when you roll back out in the arena, they're like, oh damn, he did get that back together.
Derby guys are some of the most ingenuitive guys on the planet, I think, especially in motorsports.
Oh yeah.
What's been one of your best memories from the pits, if you have any? I mean, I know it's pretty fast paced, hard to keep up with and stuff, but
Like I said, man, it's just kind of one of them things about, you know, you got a car that you come out of the arena and you're thinking there ain't no way in hell we're gonna get this back together. And when your pit crew steps up and you got it back together and you're going back out and you actually pull off a win or even in the top places, that's pretty memorable stuff right there.
kind of catches you off guard with how
Yeah.
fast a pit crew can get stuff done.
Yeah, and I mean, it catches you off guard out in the arena when you actually look around and there's only 2 or 3 cars still running and you're one of them.
Yeah,
So it's a whole different feeling, You're like, oh shit, we're down to us now.
time to let the hammer down.
Yeah.
Let her loose. Is it expensive to get into? This is a question I hear quite a bit.
I mean, it's all in what you make it. I mean, you can build you a cheap car and go in a lower class to get your foot in the door to see what it's all about, or you can fork over the big bucks and jump right in a pro mod and, I mean, it's all in what you want to put into your car. I mean,
Sure.
and I can tell you now, there's several different drivers that can take a cheap ass build and kick your ass in your $high dollar car.
Yeah,
I mean, and I've had it done to me. I've been one that's done it to people. It's all in how you build and what you build.
as long as you got a decent cage, a fair cage, and you can somewhat drive a little bit, you stand a little bit of a chance out there.
And that's right.
So what advice would you give someone just starting out? Would you tell them to start in a lower class, or would you tell them to hop straight into a mod car, save their money for a decent engine? What would you tell them?
Me personally, if it's somebody was just wanting to start out, I'd make them go run around in the pits, a couple shows to see.
Learn a little
Yeah,
bit.
to see what goes on and do a little learning. I mean, because you can't just. That'd be like me telling you to take your wife's car and jump in the arena.
Yeah,
Nothing done to it. You don't even know where to start on the car.
yeah.
But if you go and actually walk through the pits and look at, what cars are doing, how they're bending, where they're bending, how they're built, it'll give you an idea where to start.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't realize is most of us are nice guys. Well, if you got a question, just come up to us in the pit and ask, or sit. We won't get mad at you for coming up and watching us fix some stuff. And I don't think many people realize that, you know. So another fun question I had, and I knew you'd love this. Are there any rivalries in Derby, or is everybody pretty much friends?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, as far as from when I first started, there was none, but from then on in the years, there's always been. But I mean, that's part of what makes Derby.
Yeah, people love to see
I
that
mean,
grudge
if you were
match.
all friends out there, it wouldn't be a fun show.
Yeah. Grudge matches put asses in seats. Everybody wants to see those two guys that hate each other just let loose. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? And I don't know. I think we should go back to, because I know I've been to some shows where the promoter tried keeping two guys that didn't like each other away from each other, and
Right.
that takes a lot of the fun out of it. Because if you don't have two guys that are just wanting to take each other's heads off, there's no point in watching.
Yeah, and we used to try to get the promoters to let us do grudge matches. Like if you got two guys that hate us and there's two of us that hate them, put all four of us in there together and let us go.
So, do you think two guys are going off, one guy wins, right? Do you think that should be the end of it? Or if they want to sit there and try to settle it out with fisticuffs, fighting each other, you think they should allow fighting in Derby like they do hockey?
Oh man, I don't think so. I done had my share of that stuff and it'll always cost you with the law.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. You sign a little paper, and if you want to fight somebody, get off in the middle of the arena, do it in front of everybody. You know what I mean?
Oh well, if that was the story, it'd be a different story, But
That's what I'm saying is, do you think they should have some type of rule or something like that?
I think you'd lose a lot of fans and stuff over that. They want to see a derby, not a fight.
Yeah, if you want to see a fight, tune into the UFC or
That's
whatever. I got you. It would add a little bit of a spark, though.
I mean, there's always that spark at a show anyway, so.
Yeah, you never know who's gonna pop their top. And
That's right. Somebody always loses their cool, so.
so, going back, you said back when you first started there wasn't much, but has the sport changed much from when you started, or like car wise, or cars being built any different, or
Oh
is there
yeah,
more going on?
the rules now are crazy compared to when I started. When I first started, we were allowed 2 plates per frame rail, and that is it. No bumper to A-arm plate, none of that. It was
Really?
weld your bumpers on, your doors shut. You were allowed 2 plates per frame rail, and that was it.
And that's just going back to when you first started, because if you go back even further, those you talk to some of these old timers,
probably wasn't allowed no plates.
they weren't even allowed a cage back then. They were
Right.
allowed a back bar, and that was pretty much it. Would,
Right.
would you like to, if you could go back in time in Derby back then, would you rather do that, or would you rather have it where you can weld whatever the hell you want to weld on?
I think I'd rather go back. That made a driver, not who can build a car.
Speaking of that, I had somebody ask me. They said, "Would you would anybody ever be down to do a reverse derby?" And all I could think are those headlight derbies that everybody talks about. Where you leave your headlights in, and the last person with their headlights in wins, and that's basically a reverse derby, ain't it?
I'm pretty sure.
That's your freaking type of driving right there. I don't think I've ever seen you hit somebody head on from far away. I mean,
right.
I've seen you go up and lay into somebody,
I think that reverse derby, that really sounds like it'd be a cool deal to me. The last guy with the headlight, that's who wins.
and if you have trouble driving in reverse, you could throw your name in the hat on one of those and at least have some. You might get your ass handed to you, but you'd get some practice.
Right. It's a damn good way to focus on going in reverse.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to protect your headlights, so you're gonna watch who's around you the whole time to make sure there ain't somebody coming to get your headlights while you're trying to take theirs.
Yeah, keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
Help practice at least.
If you think about it, it'd be the same as the kids in Power Wheels with balloons on theirs.
Yeah, that's true.
You're trying to protect your balloon.
Would you like to see Derby continue to evolve, or do you think it should kind of stay stagnant, or should we pull some of these tanks out of the arena? Because sports are going to evolve either way. You have NASCARs now doing 200 miles an hour when back in the day they'd do 150, 140. So do you think it should continue to evolve to where we just get harder and harder and harder cars, or?
I kind of wish it would just go back to the old school, like I said, because the old school, that determined a driver, not who could build the car or who could put the most money in a car.
Yeah.
That was who was a driver versus everybody was built equally.
Yeah.
So you had a car that was built equally. It determined whether you could drive that car or not.
Isn't that what the point of the rules is, though? So everybody has kind of an equal chance?
Yeah, but that don't ever happen around here.
I hear you. Do you think... Now, I've heard stories back when you first started. They used to have the like the pink slip rule or whatever. If somebody won, they could go say... It kept people from overbuilding their cars or whatever, putting a whole bunch of money into their cars. So really keeping it level, they could go and be like, I want his car or whatever. Now, I've heard that happening at some derbies. I don't know if it ever happened at Perryton, where basically if the guy won, he could go pick somebody else's car that lost and take it home with him.
Well, I don't remember that as far as when I started, but I do remember that they had to where you could, if a car was loaded or cheated and you knew it was cheated, you could testify against it.
Oh, really?
And if you testified and won, you got to keep the $500 you testified, and he lost his place in the winnings.
That may be just somebody filling me full of BS.
No, it may be something true back then, but I don't remember it.
And that's what's kind of weird about Derby is it's different all over the country. Like being in the Panhandle of Texas, I go up to Iowa and I talk to those guys, and the way they build is totally different from the way we build down here.
Right.
And who knows? It might have been something somewhere else. When building, do you rush your paint, or do you consider that an important part of the build, or do you even care about your paint at all? Because I know some drivers want their car looking as best as it can. Some drivers don't give a crap and don't even paint it.
Well, anybody that knows me knows mine has to look good and run good, so paint is very important to me.
But you still wait until the very end to paint it?
Yeah.
Got to make sure it runs good first.
Yeah, it's the last thing you do is paint.
So what if you're cutting it cutting it close to the wire, you barely get your car ready to go the day before and don't have no time to paint it. You gonna run it or no?
Oh, you'll make time to paint it. It might be wet on the way there, but by the
Hey,
time you get there, it'll dry.
that keeps the inspectors off of it. They go to look in and it's all over them. They don't want to look at it no more.
Yeah.
Do you your kids have been a part of your derby life for quite a while, like obviously part of your regular life too, but
Right.
they look up to you quite a bit. Do you hope that you can teach them what you know and help them on their own cars, or do you even want them to run at all?
No, I want them to run. I actually tried to get my daughter to run this year, and
She wasn't having it.
her mama wouldn't let her. But my son, he's all about when he gets old enough. He wants me to run with him still and everything. So
You got a
Yeah.
lot of years left in it then, huh?
yeah, I got a lot of years left in it because I don't think he'll do it if I'm not in it. And
Why not?
I don't know, he just kind of daddy's boy. He wants me there.
I mean, if you're not out in the arena, but you're still in the pit with him, you're still there with him.
Oh, I know, but I just the way he is about it, I think if I'm not out in the arena with him, I think it's kind of one of them deals. You know, you look up to your dad, you think your dad's gonna protect you. I mean,
Yeah.
Little does he know, Dad'll be the first one to ring his bell, so he knows what it feels like.
Freaking, that's the best way to do it right there, man.
Break him in.
But he's still young though. He's got quite a bit to. He could get old enough to run and be like, I don't even want you out there anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
But he might still want your help though.
oh yeah, he's gonna want the pointers. I know that much.
What's the biggest? You've ran a lot of shows out of state, like not in Texas. What are the biggest differences in an out of state show and a hometown or home state show? Like being the outsider coming in somewhere instead of being the guy that's already there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Personally, I mean, I know everybody says, oh, you got to get the outer staters out first. You know, when you come to like your hometown show. Well, when you go to an out of state show, a lot of them guys, they're thinking the same thing. But it just, to me, when you go to an out of state show and you don't know nobody, it's a lot easier to derby because you hit everybody.
You're not looking out for
Yes,
nobody.
you're not looking out for nobody. You're just driving. And that's, to me, I'd rather go to an out of state show and not have a bunch of buddies in there versus
Is it hard
not
having
knowing
that?
nobody.
Is it hard having that target on your back though, knowing that they're gonna be?
No, because it's part. I mean, that's part of derby. You're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But
it's hit before get hit.
you'll have a lot of people on your ass though. That doesn't make you nervous at all.
No, it's.
I've never
Like
had
I
the
said,
chance.
It's part of derby.
I've never had the chance to run an out of state show. Hell, even an out of town show. The furthest away I've been from home is Spearman. But I hope to hopefully get out in derby a little bit. So then all these older guys like you can't sit there and tell me I'm not a real derbier.
I ain't telling nobody there's no such thing as a real derbier.
Do you ever plan on running big shows like Blizzard Bash or Capital Carnage?
Man, I had all the stuff lined out to do it, and I ended up selling out. And now I'm starting over again on buying everything back.
Do you think you'll ever get there, or
Oh, I'd love to try Blizzard Bash one of these days.
at least once?
Yeah.
So if you could pick, because they do a team show up there, 4-on-4. If you could pick a team to go to one of those shows, who would you pick and why?
Oh, I got a few buddies that I have in mind. I mean,
Well, which ones? Because I bet you they'll be on the show at some point.
I would have to say Chavez, Burgess, and Jace Crow, and the reason being is Burgess and Chavez, they like to build Vicks like I do, and JC likes old iron, and I think in that team deal, I think you have to have one old iron, or I don't know how all that works, but two of us have the same driving style, and the other two kind of have, you know, one's a laid back and the other one's a wide open. And I mean, sometimes it takes a guy that's just gonna go out there and shoot the kill, and
It'd be a
takes smart drivers the rest of the way. So
it'd be a fun show to watch if it was you four guys, I bet. So I guess we're already here at my last question. I didn't expect this to go by so quick. What do you got planned in the future, man? Like, what shows do you plan on running? What cars do you plan on building?
as of right now, I just kind of plan on Perryton, but after that, whatever's around, you know, I'm gonna try to hit. I wanna start trying to get a few more shows a year than what I have been. Last year, I didn't even get to hit nobody I focused on helping everybody else build their cars, and I didn't get to make one derby that everybody went to, and
Sorry about that.
then mine then the derby I did make too pulled out in the arena and transmission went out, so I didn't even get to trade paint with nobody. It kind of made for a shitty year.
So you're hoping to kind of bounce back this year
Yeah,
then.
got some redemption to do.
What out of state shows or out of town shows are you wanting? Because this year it's kind of hard with COVID and everything going on. It's, some people aren't running shows, some people are, and the ones that are you hardly hear about. But the ones you have heard about, which ones would you like to go run in the future?
Oh, I mean, I can't remember the name of most of them. There's some just right up here. I think, what was it?
The only one that's coming to mind for me is Oakley. I'd like to go run Oakley.
I'm gonna go watch Oakley. I need my car fresh for Perryton.
Yeah.
Too many sponsors and stuff that I have to, show a good clean car.
What's that one down in Central Texas that everybody talks about?
Abilene, I think.
Is it Abilene?
But I don't remember what time of year it is. I don't know if it's after or before Perryton, so it makes it, basically anything before Perryton I'm kind of out on.
It's hard to make because you're trying to get your car ready for hometown.
Spending all my time and energy and money into hometown cars, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that Abilene show would be fun to go run.
Yeah. And then there's, I think Abilene, Kansas afterwards too.
Oh,
they
really?
They do like some sort of Halloween or turkey deal or something. It may be something to try to go to.
Do you wish we could bring back the turkey bash there in Amarillo?
I do. I used to love going to that show.
I went and watched plenty of times. That's where I saw you win some of these trophies here. So you'd probably run it again if it come back.
Oh yeah, I loved it down there. It was a good indoor show. I mean, I wish it could have continued.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Maybe we can find a promoter or somebody to convince to try to get one started back there again.
Yeah, it was kind of a good destination point for a lot of the drivers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that some of the southern guys and western guys kind of came to it, and we're still 2 hours from it, so it was kind of a central point for a lot of people.
Yeah. What do you think about them getting the shows in Vegas started up? That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I'd like to try that one of these years, but I think it's kind of one of them deals you gotta kind of qualify or pre-qualify or something like that to get into. I'm not real sure on how all that works.
Didn't you you did a couple of those back in the day though, where you went and ran multiple derbies, and it was kind of a circuit, and one of them got you qualified somewhere, didn't it?
Yeah, I ran Scott City, and it qualified me for the CCDA championships, which they kind of run a point system deal up there. But winning that got me automatically into that.
That'd be cool. Do you know if they do Perryton as part of that point system or anything? Because I didn't know anything about that.
I don't think so
now.
Because it's Texas versus Kansas.
I didn't know because they're both CDDA shows. Maybe that's a question for Chad.
Yeah, I think it's kind of more of a Kansas thing though.
Hell yeah. Well, I don't have any more questions for you, and I feel like that's a pretty good stopping point there. Well, thanks for being on the show, man. I appreciate it. You're the first episode, which is pretty cool because you're one of the guys that got me into Derby. So I appreciate having you on, and thanks for agreeing to do it.
You're welcome, man.